All right, it's time to get liberated from the chaos of working in your business. It's Scott Beebe, the head coach, the founder of the Business on Purpose platform. And you know the last few episodes we've been doing, I walk out of a client's office, I flip on my app, and I start telling you about everything that we just talked about, the questions that were asked, the coaching that was done. This episode is going to be a little bit different, although it's going to be kind of the same. So let me explain that. What we're going to do is I've got an interesting and fantastic Middle Eastern / Toronton Canadian Hani Mourra who's with us today. Hani is the creator, the founder of repurpose.io. And we've been using the platform for some months now. And Hani recently sent me a customer service email. I don't even remember what it was about. And I thought, wait a second. I need to talk to this guy because you and me both need to hear from Hani Mourra and what he's doing because it fits so squarely within the idea of automation, process, systems, those sorts of things. So I have no script. We're going to have some fun with this and have a great time. And I even prepped Hani to say, hey, I'm going to flip on the record button, the microphone, and we're just going to dive into it. So Hani Mourra from Chile, at least where I'm standing, Chile, Toronto. So glad you could be with us. I really appreciate you making time.
Thank you, Scott. That was an amazing intro. Thanks. I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely, man. Hey, let's dive in. The first thing I want you to do is give us, I think you've got a fascinating background from where you were born, where you were raised, and now where you're at. So why don't you give us the short version of the background, and then I want you to tell us from a business perspective what you're working on right now.
For sure. I was born in the Middle East. I was born in Kuwait. I grew up there until around 12 years old, 11 years old or so. And then we moved to Canada, kind of grew up here in Canada, just outside of Toronto area. And I've got involved in online business, just kind of following my passion of video. I've always loved video, creating video content to kind of attract, serving your clients, serving your customers by creating valuable content via video. And I got involved I always had the engineering background, software engineering background. So I combined passion and my skills to create my first software back in November of 2013. And it's been ongoing, creating more and more automation software for businesses, for small business owners who are looking to automate and the publishing of their content and repurposing of their content and getting their content out to multiple platforms with little to no effort. So that started back in November of 2013, and here we are in December 2017, and I think 5-6 products have been released since that period. So it's been a very exciting time, and just love what I'm doing and helping entrepreneurs grow and get more exposure online with their content.
Hani, talk to us about the different products that you guys are building. You mentioned 5 or 6 different things. What are those?
Yeah, I mean, in general, like every single software is designed to take a piece of content that you created once, whether it's a YouTube video, a podcast, a Facebook Live, and help distribute it across different platforms, such as YouTube, Facebook, maybe as a podcast. And then secondly, to publish that content on your website as a blog post. So they all are designed to work together. And it's interesting because it wasn't all planned from day one. Day one, I created a tool for WordPress that helped me automatically make blog posts from my YouTube videos. That was my first product. I did a lot of YouTube videos. I knew I had to be on my site. I knew I had to grow my email list. So I wrote a little plugin for WordPress that would publish my videos onto my WordPress site so I can start growing my email list and start growing my online business. And then it went from video to podcast automation. So it published all your podcasts to your WordPress site. It went to Facebook Live when that rolled out in 2016. So it published all your Facebook Live to your site. And then the latest one, which is one that we talked about recently, is a repurpose.io, which takes your content, whether it's a podcast, a video, a Facebook Live video, and converts it into different formats and uploads them automatically to big platforms like YouTube and Facebook for more exposure.
So, Hani, we preach process over and over and over again. In fact, we've got kind of a saying, the systems mindset. Whatever you do, the next thing you do, document it like it's the last time you'll ever do it. And so certainly there's a process to how to do this, and you're fitting in nicely with that mindset because you can automate things on the back end. I want to dig into automation a little bit when we go into the discussion. I want to go back though. This is a little bit selfish question. You mentioned, and I don't think I knew this, that you could take a video and transform that into a blog post. There are a lot of small business owners that do not or will not either have the time or make the time to sit down and to pound out a blog post, an article, but they also realize the value of that. Some people like to read, there's SEO value, et cetera. What is that? Is it a literal word for word from the how does that work?
Actually, what it's doing is it's a WordPress tool. So it's designed to work with WordPress sites. And whether you're doing a Facebook video, a Facebook Live video, or whether you're uploading a YouTube video, you typically have a description that goes along with it for SEO purposes. You want your video to rank on YouTube. Let's just pick on YouTube, for example. So when you put your videos on YouTube, you make the video, you upload it, you do a little bit of research, you come up with keywords, you put them in the title, and you write some content in the description as well on YouTube. And so what this WordPress plugin does, it literally takes the video from YouTube and embeds it on your website automatically onto a brand new blog post, and it'll take that same description that you took time to refine and optimize for SEO, and it puts that as your blog post. So you don't have to do it twice. You don't have to go and copy and paste. You do it once on YouTube. You spend the time to make the video, to write the little description, and that within an hour automatically becomes a blog post with a video. But more importantly, and that was the key that drove me to create the software, was it automatically adds an email opt-in box. And collecting email addresses is the best thing you need to do for your business, is to grow that connection, grow that two-way conversation with somebody visiting your site. So you definitely want to grow your email list, and that was one of the big things of this WordPress plugin, is it automatically added an email opt-in box below each video on every blog post.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So with small business owner, that makes sense. So there's still work required to actually get the description down. So,
correct. Yeah.
A lot of small business owners are also having to think through this idea of SEO and writing out descriptions and getting all of those things out there. If, let's assume you had to kind of pick one, because one of the things we try to really encourage small business owners to do, a la Gary Keller, what's the one thing that you can do if by doing it made everything else either easier or unnecessary? With everything, Hani, that you've built, what do you feel like, and mind you that many of the heroic small business owners we get to serve are brick and mortars. So these guys, they've got hard asset businesses, et cetera. We've got plenty who have online platforms. There's a lot of digital space as well. But we've also got a significant, in fact, majority of the businesses are going to be what we would classify as brick and mortar. And so go into the mind of the brick and mortar business owner right now. They've got infrastructure, they've got assets, they've got people working in a building, things like that. Mm-hmm. And they've got all of these moving parts. What out of what you have built, and maybe it depends, and that's fine if that's the answer, but walk us through kind of the algorithm of that. But what out of what you've built would be kind of the starting point for a small business owner to go, okay, I want to do things that are automated from a marketing standpoint, but my goodness, this stuff is so overwhelming. You tell me Facebook Live, I don't even know how to turn a Facebook Live on, et cetera. I mean, I do, but most people may not.
Right.
Where would you tell them to get started?
If you're creating content, I mean, it's all going to depend on the business and the business type, but I feel it's a tough answer, but I would go with utilizing YouTube, basically focusing on getting content on YouTube. And the reason why I say that is because you can automate that process to get that blog post automatically created to your website. But YouTube is part of Google. It's the biggest search engine. It's the second biggest search engine besides Google, and it really works. Like, there's tools out there to help you identify keywords that will help you rank your video, and it's just so powerful. Like, I'm not an SEO expert. I do a little bit of SEO. I don't spend hours. I don't have expensive tools. I use free tools that are available from Google to do a little bit of keyword research and spend a few minutes to write a decent description to describe the video. And that's it. And it ranks. Like, I have videos that rank number one for certain keywords that I need for my business, for my product. So, I mean, this doesn't directly tie into any of my products specifically, but just talking to a small business owner, if you want to create content, I know video is intimidating. It doesn't have to be a fancy video. It could just be, you walking through something, or you talking through camera, or you doing a PowerPoint presentation. But I feel video on YouTube is the easiest way to get started, but also has the biggest return on getting your products and your business discovered by others.
Okay. So we could reasonably say with a tool like, let's say, repurpose.io, what we use it for is I do a Facebook Live, which is the easiest method for me to actually do a video because I can literally just click a button and I'm
Yeah.
on and it's recording it. And then once I'm done with that post, it obviously automatically goes to Facebook and then through repurpose.io goes to YouTube. So
Yeah.
from there, if somebody were to follow that track, because I've kind of got the minds of the small business owners swirling in my head, and I can hear resoundingly and collectively them saying, I don't have time for keyword searches and descriptions. What's the poor man's version of descriptions and how to write a description for a video? When I say the poor man, I mean poverty and time. What's the poor man's version of that as it relates to a small business owner? Not so they can hack it and cheat their way to the top. That's not what I'm talking about. What I am talking about, though, is just consistency, small little walks and base hits.
Yeah, I would say, I mean, if you're talking, like if your business, let's say you're a dentist, or say you're a dentist, so you're making videos or Facebook Lives videos on different topics of dentistry. I think if you like dedicate 30 minutes, not every day, just 30 minutes, a block, and go through the Google, there's a tool called Google Keyword Planner. It's part of the Google Analytics. Oh, no, Google AdWords, I should say. Anyway, you should say just search for Google keyword tools. There's a lot of free tools out there. Spend some time, just find out. The key is find out words that are highly searched. You want to know, Google will tell you how many people are searching for these types of words. Highly searched and low competition. Google will tell you, these tools will tell you roughly how much competition. Make a list of like 20, 30 words, and then just have that on a little word pad or on your phone somewhere. And then when you do a video, just pick one of those words and use that as your title and make a video about that one subject. I mean, that's kind of my hack version is make, you want to spend time up front. And I know you don't want to spend keyword research every single time you do a video because no one has time to do that, or unless you have a team to help you with. But the poor man version is do it once, make a list of all these words, and then just fire off a 2-minute video of you talking about that subject, and then use like one video per keyword, and then just use that keyword as your title and mention it in the description. And more importantly, put a link back to your website in the description of YouTube or Facebook. That's kind of like the hack version of getting it out. At least you're addressing words that people are searching, or topics people are actually searching for. So it's important to spend 30 minutes, 20 minutes, I don't know, just spend a few minutes, or have somebody on your team spend a few minutes, get you that list, and then you can hammer out the videos a lot faster.
Okay. And so for the heroic small business owners that have been using Google Drive in order to essentially build their business as we have and so many others have, the same thing would hold true. Basically, open a Google Doc, go to the keyword planner. And Hani, am I right in saying that, because even I think some would go, well, like what word do I even type in there? Would you just kind of, so in my world, I coach small business owners. We liberate small business owners from chaos. Would I literally just start with the word liberate or chaos or small business? Where would I start with that?
Yeah, I would start with small business coaching. Try a few different words, and what the tool will do is it'll give you different variations of similar word, and the tool will tell you if how many people are searching for that and how much competition is out there for that word.
Okay.
So start with something that's not too vague, a little more specific, like small business coaching maybe, or small business automation, or words that you feel that someone might be searching for. And then Google will tell you if people are actually searching and what other variations of that word or that phrase they're searching for.
Okay. So I'm going to throw a couple examples just to kind of see how this works. All right. So we've got one small business owner who owns a concrete contracting company. If I'm that person, what would I type into my Google keyword?
Yeah, you can put in like concrete. Sorry, you said concrete mixing company or concrete?
Yeah, like they pour concrete slabs.
Oh, okay. So Who would be a customer? Like builders maybe, or like
Yes, so builders and large commercial contractors.
something like that. Yeah. So I mean, I would start with concrete, yeah, concrete pouring concrete or concrete services, and see what comes up in the Google search. And then Google will tell you, here are other words that are related to this keyword, and here are the stats related to it in
Okay.
terms of search volume and competition.
Okay.
And if you're talking specific, like if you're location dependent, like if you're targeting, you're not driving all over the world. You don't have an online business. You're a brick and mortar,
Right,
and you're
right.
you're dealing with like local area. One thing I found that was working. My wife's a dentist and she has her own business. And one thing that works really, really well, probably I would even start with this before I even get into video. If you're targeting the geographic location, is just make sure you're on Google Places. They keep changing the name of it, but make sure you're on. I think it's called Google Places, where your business is listed on Google, and also make sure you're on Yelp as well. Yeah, you've claimed your listing on Yelp and on Google Places. You've done you claimed it. You put your business hours in there. You put all the information. You filled it out so that you appear in search engines. That is by far for a local business the best bang for your buck, because it's free and it's you spend an hour, upload some pictures, put your business hours in there, claim that listing so they know it's real, and then you're good to go.
Wow. All right. That's very, very helpful. When you look at small business owners, Hanny, especially in the places of marketing automation, and I want to you said something earlier about email lists. I want to come back to that in just a minute because I think it's important. We talk about it, but I also believe in the law of amplification. If I can get somebody else to say it, I think it will amplify the message of what is there. What do you feel like is the lowest hanging fruit for small business owners, particularly, again, either brick and mortar or location independent, whatever you want to call it? What's the lowest hanging fruit for marketing automation for small business owners right now?
I mean, to me, it's. I mean, if you have content on your website, like if you have some kind of blog, definitely include some kind of way to capture emails, because you wanna get people on the email list and keep giving them more value. If you don't have that yet, and you don't see a blog kind of in your future, you don't have a system to create blog posts, um, I would say like just make sure that people can find you, i.e., like I mentioned earlier, Google Places and Yelp. Those are two critical areas. Make sure your business is listed there, especially if you're a local business, and make sure people can contact you with a simple click. It's very clear on your website how to reach you, whether it's phone number or an email contact form. I see a lot of times people have to dig around to find a phone number to call a business, especially for a local business, and that's not what you want to do. You want to make it super easy. So I would like to say, like I'm just thinking, I'm putting my wife's business in place. Like she's got to start a blog. It's very hard to maintain. I know, like when you're a small business, especially like a local business, it's hard to create content all the time. But I mean, what we found really works is getting that Google Places like claimed out listing, and even I mentioned earlier keyword research. You know how you do the keyword research for
Right.
YouTube? Use those same keywords in your Google listing, because someone's typing dentist Toronto or concrete in Michigan or wherever. You want to be there. Like you want to have those keywords in your description. They say, we're a local concrete business in Michigan. That's the description on your Google Places, a description on your YouTube videos. Any content you put out there, you use those same keywords. So the beauty is you do the research once and you can use it on different platforms, Google Places, on Yelp, on YouTube videos if you start doing them, and on blog posts as well.
Okay. Email list. You've mentioned that a number of times and you've continued to go back to it. I think anybody who's got an online business realizes the vitality of an email list. Can you talk to more of and talk to them, because there may still be some who don't, but can you talk to a lot of the folks who are not online in terms of the core part of their business? It may be more marketing that has them online more than anything else. What is the viability, not just the appreciation of an email list, but the absolutely must have of an email list? Why is that so crucially important?
Yeah, you got to think of somebody coming to your site, whether to read a blog post or just or just they stumbled on your site somehow, somewhere. right? They may never come back. They may never know anything about you. They may land on a page that was interesting at the time, and then they get a phone call. They pick up the phone, and they're gone. Like or they click on something and they're off to something else. So it's very critical to get that person, capture them in a way where you can talk to them. And what I mean by that is get them to sign up to an email list. Get them to leave their email in exchange for something valuable. And you don't just say sign up for a newsletter, because nobody wants more email. You have to say,
I don't.
Here's a checklist for top 10 things you should look for when you're trying to hire your next concrete company or something like that. Like simple things that they can download as value for them, and that way you have a method of reaching out to that customer or potential customer again, and to give them more value, and then build the trust, and then eventually get them as a customer.
Okay, good. I think that's incredibly helpful, Hani. Sometimes because the beauty and the value of a brick and mortar is they actually have people coming. There's actually, in most cases, I'm thinking about one of our small business owners who owns a retail landscape supply business. In addition, he's got a lot of contractors that come in. So they have people streaming in every day that they can capture that from. Then it's being able to find what's the outlay. What do we do with those emails? And I think you've articulated that to some extent, and also the ability to be able to repurpose that content. Here's another big question that I've got, and this may be from a higher level, but I do think it impacts everybody who owns and runs and operates and leads a small business. Are we going to get automation fatigue? Have we already gotten it? Is there an automation bubble? I don't know how to put it, but I know automation is big. The principle of automation will never be fatigued. We live in a system that is called this world. And at the same time, digital automation, marketing automation, is there a fatigue inside? If so, what does it look like? And how do we kind of push through that to maximize the value to spread a message?
Like you said, like automation exists everywhere. I don't think the only thing I always advise against automation is the human contact aspect of it. What I mean is when you're talking to somebody or replying, let's say you're on Twitter, if you have a presence on Twitter or on Facebook, on your Facebook page, people reach out to you and they leave you a message. Respond as a human from a human. Like every time you have a conversation with somebody, whether it's a customer or a potential customer in an online space, don't automate that piece, because at the end of the day, you're a human. Like, people do business with other people. So if they sense that it's a robot or a bot that's talking to them, they're not going to be turned off. They're not going to have that trust factor. So any communication you do, they reach out to you on Facebook, reply back, have you, the owner, or someone on your team reply back and say, hi, my name is Hani. How can I help you? Or how can I answer? Like, make it personal, make it real. Don't automate the communication, but definitely automate the tedious tasks like distribution, posting things on social media. Like that stuff, you can do it manually. It takes a long time, but if you can automate it, there's a lot of tools to automate it. Like repurpose automates content distribution. There's other tools that can post for you on Facebook and other platforms. And that's not time well spent. Having somebody click through onto Twitter and post things every day, right? That you can automate, but the communication, I believe you shouldn't. And the only exception is email. Like I definitely, when you have one-on-one conversation over email, it's great. You need to have one-on-one conversations. But if someone signs up for your email list, like we talked about earlier, as a business owner, you don't feel like you have to create new content every week and send it to them. You can schedule content to go out to them on a weekly basis in advance. So don't think it's an extra step, and that's okay. Like, you can automate a newsletter that goes out every month or every week with some piece of content. That's perfectly fine. But in terms of communication via email, if someone replies back and says, hey, I have a question about this, obviously keep that real.
Yeah. I agree with you, man. I think there's going to be a shift. This sounds crazy. I think there's going to be a shift back to human connection. It's crazy to think that we would get away from that. But I do think that we're miles away from where we were. It's not an indictment. It's just reality. And I like the kind of the thoughtful and insightful gesture to say, hey, don't lose what is real, and automating certain parts of it. I'm going to kind of make a point here, and that is that as a small business owner, we've got to constantly be building process. That has to be in the core of what we do. And that goes back to the systems mindset. And so think about this for you as small business owners. When you're making a video, and you might even say, what do I make a video of? Anything. It's interesting. Anything that you do that I can't see overtly, I'm interested in. It's kind of the behind the curtain effect. And so take that behind the curtain, flip on the record button, let us see what's going on. It's interesting. Nobody's going to steal it, because stealing it still requires implementation. And most people won't implement it because it's not in their skill set to be able to do it. So show us what's going on, then build a process out of it. And if your process, for instance, one of our processes includes repurpose.io, includes some of the tools that Hani has created. So Hani's built a process that fits within our process. And so you got to constantly be processing every element of your business so that you can start heading towards your vision. Hani, I want to ask you this final question. It really has nothing to do with automation. It's really the why behind what you're doing. I'm always interested in this. I know you've got skill set to do this. I know you kind of saw a market need and you're filling the market need. But something more tangible and purpose-filled than that. Why are you doing this? Why are you building these tools for small business owners?
First, I love it. Like, I built the first one for myself because it was a pain point I had as a person uploading videos to YouTube. But then it became like, this is like my contribution to the world. It sounds like kind of cheesy, but I feel like I'm helping people who are doing their content creation, podcasters, live streamers, or people who make video. I'm helping them get their message out, helping them make an impact on the world by automating these tedious tasks for them. And that's very rewarding for me. Like, the feedback I get is that, wow, you're saving me so much time so I can focus on the most important thing, which is creating that content. So that's, to me, is very rewarding. Like, that's what drives me to go on to the next one. And what else can I automate to help this particular group of people who create podcasts, people who create videos for Facebook Live or for YouTube? How can I help them get their message out and help them eliminate, like, waste? To me, it's wasted time. Sit there, click on YouTube, upload a video, wait for it to finish, type in a title. Why do that manually? The most important thing is that piece of content you create, the effort you put into making that video, the passion, the energy you put into making it, not the tedious tasks of putting it on the different platforms.
Yeah. That's good, man. Hani, I can't thank you enough. I don't want to be subtle about this. I want small business owners to come use what you've built. So just lay it out. Where do they go to get whatever it is that they need from a repurpose and automation standpoint?
The best place to start, especially if you're not sure, because there are several products. If you head on to hanimourra.com, so HANIMOURRA.com, I talk a little bit about the different products. You can pick the one that fits you, whether you're you're starting a podcast, whether you're doing live streams or just YouTube. You can pick the one you want from there. It summarizes all the different products and a little bit more about me and how to reach out to me if you have any more questions.
That's awesome. All right. So HaniMourra.com. Hani, H-A-N-I, Mourra, M as in Mary, OURRA.com. Go check it out. He's got everything up there. The repurpose tool that we talked about. He's got a simple social press, video press, reviews booster, and podcast press. Everything that you need there. And it is really, really powerful. And man, I just want to thank you. I want to thank you for what you built. I want to thank you for your humility in building it. That you're not the kind of guy that's just kind of flashing out there and throwing a bunch of stuff up. This really seems to be a passion and a skill for you. And I also want to thank you for just coming on and sharing with the small business owners a little bit about the idea, the concept, and also specifically about what you do. So, Hani, thank you.
My pleasure, Scott. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. So as always, you can check us out at mybusinessonpurpose.com. If you have not, built the vision for your business. We've done all the work for you. It's the first step of any small business owner. Just go to mybusinessonpurpose.com/vision. We've got our entire tutorial and the template. It's right there for you. It's completely free. All we ask is that you provide the sweat, that you provide the work. And if you'll do that, mybusinessonpurpose.com/vision. Go check it out. I'll see you next time right here on the Business on Purpose podcast.